Hi, my name is Raine and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going over my June 2021 wrap-up. So this was kind of a slow reading month. I only read 3 books, but they were all 5 out of 5 stars. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first book is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. Now, if you don't know, I read this book because June was Pride Month, and this book is like a really famous Pride read, I guess. I feel bad calling it a Pride read because it's not like, oh, I read this book because, you know, the 2 main characters are gay. No, I read this book because it's a really, really good book. Guys, I'm telling you, from the moment I opened up this book, I knew it was gonna be good. So it's by Benjamin Signs? No idea if I'm saying that right, but oh my gosh, he is a really, really poetic author, and he has like all these different awards, and I can see why, because from the moment I opened up this book, I knew it was gonna be something amazing. The words just strike you like in your core, and you really grow invested, not only in the writing, like in the characters.
So here's some really pretty fan art. Sorry to cut the video short, but I actually took some notes while I was reading this book, and I decided that the notes I took were better than the video I recorded. So I'm just going to do a voiceover. All I'm going to tell you is that this is a coming of age story told from the perspective of Aristotle, who likes to be called Ari. He becomes friends with a boy named Dante. Now, Ari is a real person. I know that technically he's a fictional character, but he's not. Like, I promise. So you read this book and you go on this journey and you take the efforts to know this person, and you just feel so connected. Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe was beautifully written. It's not my favorite book, but it's up there, and I doubt I will ever forget it. Benjamin was able to put words to feelings that I'm pretty sure everyone feels, but nobody is able to really touch. The author did such a great job of letting you know what Ari, the main character, was feeling. And it didn't just tug at your heartstrings, it basically unraveled your heart and lovingly stitched it back together piece by piece. That's the best way I can describe this book. The other crazy thing is that this book got 5 stars before it even ended. That's so rare. Like, so rare, I can't even think of another book where that's happened. Endings are important. How you finish what you start is arguably one of the most important aspects of writing a story. But guys, this book was like Gabby Douglas or Simone Biles at the Olympics. It won long before the event was over. To be so good that you would still win, even if you flubbed your final move, is impressive. I was reading this book, fully immersed in the journey, and I realized that it didn't really matter how it ended. And that's because the author, Benjamin, took a piece of life and put it in the book. And the thing about life is that it's never really finished. The story in these pages go on, if that makes sense. Even after I finished the final page and closed the book, it didn't feel over. And I think that's because this story is just so alive. It's like I can see it breathing and feel the presence of a soul. I'm being so serious. Reading this book is like watching that award-winning actor nail the monologue at the end of the movie that makes you and everyone else cry. That monologue that makes you forget you're watching a movie. Forget everything except what's happening. Anyway, in short, it was inspiring. Writing at its finest. If at a time you loved reading and maybe writing, but you've forgotten that love due to the monotony and melancholy of life, this book will make you remember.
What I really want you to do is go to your nearest library, pick it up, and like me, just do a binge read. Just start at night and then keep going until the sun comes up, and I guarantee you will not regret it. 5 out of 5 stars from me. The next book I read was also a Pride Month read. It's called Red, White, and Royal Blue. Now, people were going crazy over this book last year, and me being me, I did not get to it until this year. But I definitely see why people were going crazy over it because it was really, really good. Now, it's your typical love story, but done extremely well. So this is a love story between the first son of the United States and the Prince of England. So there's a problem here in that Well, I should say that this book really exemplifies the idea of partial acceptance, because it might be okay for other people to be gay, but it's not okay for the first son to be gay, or it's not okay for the prince to be gay because they hold the highest offices. And it's especially true in Prince Harry's case because he's supposed to be royalty, continue the family line, blah, 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 all this other stuff.
Here's some more really pretty fan art because I want to explain what I mean when I say partial acceptance. It means that people can accept your existence, but not you. I know I definitely see this as a black woman, so I'm just going to explain it from that perspective. So, when people quote unquote have nothing against black people, but would never want their child to marry someone who's black, that's an example of partial acceptance, because that person might be able to accept that black people exist and appreciate the contributions that black people make to society, but obviously they don't fully accept black people. I think we saw a lot of partial acceptance when Obama was elected. People like watching LeBron James dunk, but not a black man in the Oval Office. So, in this book, being gay is stigmatized, but it's not the worst thing that could happen, except it is for Alex and Henry who hold high offices. That's because they're the face of their countries and they can't be gay because they just can't be. So obviously you see how gay people might be allowed to exist, but how people might say, quote unquote, I have nothing against gay people, but I would never want my child to be gay, and I certainly don't want a gay person as my highest representative. Hopefully this explanation was valuable. Either way, just wanted to explain. Back to the video.
The two main characters end up having to overcome a lot of prejudice in order to be together, but that's what gives this story like its little extra oomph. It makes it inspirational, and you're really, really rooting for the characters to get together. Technically, I did only give this book like 4.5 out of 5 stars because sometimes the politics kind of bored me. The main character's like really, really into policy. No, but it's also good because the characters have their own personalities and you can see, like, you know, how each person is individual. Like, I could see them in my head. It's like I was there. And oh, that reminds me, be warned, this does have some steamy sex scenes. Definitely should be in the adult section, but they're not gratuitous, so you might find you really enjoy them. Anyway, I highly recommend you read this book, Red, White, and Royal Blue. Go check it out. The last book I read was Anxious People by Frederick Backman. Now, this book is really, really good. It wasn't a Pride Month read, but you should go pick it up anyway. 5 out of 5 stars for me. Now, I just want to let you know, before I even get into the plot, that this book is told non-chronologically. It's also told from the perspective of like 8 different characters. If that throws you off, if you're the kind of person who likes a really ordered read, maybe this book isn't for you. But if you don't mind, then you should totally pick it up. So this book is about a failed bank robbery. There's this bank robber, tries to rob a bank, isn't so successful, ends up taking a bunch of people hostage, and during this hostage situation, the bank robber and the people who are being held hostage like learn more about each other. And it's really a story about life, because if you're like me, you know, you might think you're really open, but regardless, you'll probably go in reading something with your own preconceived notions and judgments. And I know that while I was reading the book, it really kind of opened my eyes, and whereas I did make some initial judgments about the characters without myself even knowing it, by the end I really felt like I understood them more and understood where they were coming from. And you kind of get, like, you know, people don't make quote unquote bad decisions just to make bad decisions, if that makes sense. And additionally, I really think that this book is a book about life, and you know, how life can be really, really sour, but also how it can be really, really beautiful, and also how you can turn a really, really sour situation into something beautiful. And if any of what I just said appeals to you, I really, really think that you're going to like this book. But it's really important that you're willing to just let go, because if you're reading and you just want to go from point A to point B, you're not going to be happy. But if you're willing to take a winding path that kind of looks like this, well, then you're going to be thrilled. And I know that I was really, really happy with the resolution of this book. And it did start off a little bit slow, but it picked up steam, and it was so, so worth the read. I remember I was just reading it really casually, and then by the end I was like, so highly, highly, highly recommend. I know that it is it was really popular when it came out, and it's still really popular. You might have to put it on hold if you're getting it from your library, but hang in there because you're not gonna regret it. 5 out of 5 stars. That's it! Yes, I only read 3 books, but they were all really great, and I recommend that you read all 3. I am currently reading We Hunt the Flame, but I'm not done yet. You can see that in my next wrap-up. P.S. It's probably going to be really good. But that is it. That's all I read for the month of June, and I'm really, really happy. You should go read all 3 of these books. I'm very happy I could even recommend them to you, and I'll see you next month. Bye!